Hello, folks, and welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. I'm Dave, that's Scott, and we'd like to welcome you and say, first off, thank you very much for watching, spending time and watching us. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, share us around. We're whores.
You can share us for free.
Anyway.
I'm cheap.
But today we are watching, and well, we're not watching, we're just reviewing The Longest Yard.
Yeah, I definitely can't multitask and have this on at the same time while I'm talking.
Yeah, the reviews, I don't know how people do that, but one day we're going to have to try it. We're going to have to see if we can do that. But anyway, Longest Yard, I realized
1974.
I realized last night it was 1974. Wow.
Yeah.
Probably the first time he shaved his mustache in a long time.
Dude, I want to talk about that real quick before we even get to the synopsis of the movie, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But it starts off, this is typical Burt Reynolds. But there's a scene where he ends up in jail and they shave his mustache. And it takes me almost the entire movie to get over the fact that I'm looking at Burt Reynolds without a fucking mustache. It is the weirdest thing ever, man. That is his signature. Without that, it's not Burt Reynolds.
And what's really funny is there's quite a few movies out there where he doesn't have a mustache.
Yeah, that mustache is all him.
It's so funny when you see him because he used to, early on, he'd have it, not have it, have it, not have it, back and forth. And then around, I'm not sure what movie it was. I want to say Smokey and the Bandit, probably, maybe a little bit before then. He got the mustache and it just stayed.
Yeah.
So from that point on, I don't know that he ever shaved his mustache.
It had to stay. He's one of the few people that can rock a mustache. I'm sorry. It just
him and Magnum PI.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't look right without it. I mean, it's just like, what? Who are you?
I was thinking last night, it was such a good movie, and it had been such a long time since I had seen it. I know how I feel about it. How'd you feel about it?
Okay. Well, before I get to that, I mean, I really enjoyed it. Right. I had seen it before, but we'll talk a little bit about the story. What we have here is a story about a pro football player who throws a game, and he's kind of no longer in the game. Basically,
they kick him out, right?
They kick him out. He's been out for like 8 years. He's obviously upset that he did it because it starts with he's a drunk, and he's rewatching this game over and over, while his girlfriend is just dogging him bad.
Oh man.
Oh yeah, she really instigated that whole incident.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Neither one of them are a good person.
No, they're not. I'm not saying she deserved the beating, but I'm saying she asked for something.
It was more of a face shove.
Yeah.
But it's funny, as you say, the beating, I remembered him.
It really wasn't a beating.
I remember him like doing a backhand, but that's not what it was.
He just shoved her.
He just basically
and then he grabbed her. Yeah.
Way.
But she did hit him first, in all fairness. I'm just saying.
In all fairness, she did attack him.
Yeah.
It was a women's right movement at the time. So,
and but anyway, so what happens is he's drunk. He fights her. He steals her car, goes on this wild
or whatever.
Don't take my Maserati. But he didn't. He took some ugly ass Citron to drive around. A car with a horrible horn, by the way.
Yeah.
But it was a neat car chase, which ended with him dumping it in a lake and then just going to a bar to continue drinking.
God, that was funny. That was a funny part.
Really fun. When the police show up to arrest him, and one's a short cop, and he's like, "Oh, what a miniature cop!"
Yeah, he goes up to like here, and
he fights him. He fights him and ends up in jail. So the movie is, you have this pro football player that people despise. He's in jail. The warden has pulled tons of strings because he wants to win this football championship. And he figures if he has Paul Crewe on board, he can win and take it. But Paul just wants to go do his 18 months and be done. Yeah. He finds out he really doesn't have a say in how this is going to go. The warden flexes, makes his life hell, and Paul eventually agrees. And the double crossing just continues throughout the whole movie.
And Eddie Albert.
He's so good in here.
I've seen him play good guys. I've seen him play bad guys. And when he plays a bad guy, he plays a freaking bad
he's awesome, dude. That's not what you expect when you see, at least when I see him on screen, I don't expect that.
Well, you expect the guy from Green Acres.
Yeah.
That's folks. By the way, that's who Eddie Albert is. He's the guy from Green Acres.
Yes, and
The
we watched
lawyer.
that on TV when we were wee lads.
Yeah, and I still watch reruns of it. I love Green Acres. It's one of the funniest, stupidest shows. The wife doesn't do dishes; she just throws them out the window. Anyway,
and
back to
you
Eddie
can't
Albert.
beat Arnold. I mean,
No,
Arnold.
the Arnold the pig.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the movie. Oh, it's terrible that I get sidetracked so easily. Shiny objects, loud noises. The point is that he's such a good and convincing actor.
Yeah.
Like he as soon as Burt Reynolds' character tells him no, I'm not interested, he leaves. He calls the captain of the guard in. He starts ripping the guy a new ass. Like, I wanted him. What happened? Basically is what happened. Had the guy not punched and beat the shit out of Burt Reynolds earlier, Burt Reynolds probably would have taken the job. He would probably with no problem. He'd like, yeah, I'll show you guys whatever you want. But the guy kicked the shit out of him, said, no, you don't take this position or whatever. And that's where a lot of the buildup and tension comes from. Because that guard, that guy plays that guy. He's such a good character actor. He always plays a bastard.
I saw so many familiar faces in this.
I know, right?
One of the most familiar, and it's so cool to see in this role, is Richard Creel.
Yeah.
Also known as like Jaws from the Bond movies.
Yeah.
He's a softie, but he's so big and so strong. He's always like crying.
He did it on purpose.
He is so that's just it. There's so many great performances in this that it's like, wow. It's just good, man.
There's so many good character actors. There's so many good actors. The guy who played Teen Wolf's dad, Michael J. Fox's dad in Teen Wolf, that was the manager.
That was Caretaker or whatever.
Caretaker, thank you, Caretaker.
Yeah. I was like, where have I seen this guy?
Yeah, and then of course you got Burt Reynolds. And what it boils down to is Burt Reynolds' character winds up getting a team. He suckers the warden into letting him get a team of convicts to play football against the warden's team, the guards. And initially, he doesn't care. He just wants to play a game and give the warden. He doesn't give a fuck who wins, who loses.
Yeah,
and perfectly fine. That should have been how it was going to go for the warden. But instead, the warden starts flexing his muscles. The captain of the guard starts flexing his.
It becomes a big pissing contest.
The really funny thing is none of the black guys in the yard wanted to play football because they realized what a jerk Burt Reynolds was. They're like, well, he threw his own team. What do you think he's going to do to us? We're just a bunch of black guys. He doesn't give a shit about us. They're not having anything to do with the football game. So which guy? I don't forget which guy it was, but he says, "Don't worry, I can get you over to him. We'll go introduce you to the black guys."
Grandview or Grant? They called him Granny, or
I can't remember the guy's name.
Yeah,
he goes over and they're all out playing basketball and hustling, and they see Burt Reynolds and a couple of the white guys come over, and Burt Reynolds is like, "Hey, why don't you guys play football?" He recognized a few of the guys from draft picks, being draft picks and stuff, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't."
No.
Not interested in playing for you, we don't like you, whatever they say to him.
Honky.
And finally, one of the older guys stands up. He goes, "Yeah, I'll play for you."
Yeah,
and
that's the one, Grandview
like,
or whatever. Yeah,
just honky. What do you? They're just bad mouthing the black guy.
He's like, "I'm going to play football."
Because what did he say? Something to the effect of, "I could hit one of the guards and fight one of the guards."
I think once they realize that,
which one do you think I'm going to pick? And he just turns around and leaves. He goes to play football, and eventually, the guards push too hard against him. They're trying to get him to attack a guard
so they can hurt him.
And he knows, so they can basically hurt him and get him off the team because they need to be able to clear up this guy's team. They know they got one or two good players. That's who they're going after.
Yeah,
and they really fuck with this guy in the library.
In the library. Oh man, how he maintained composure,
smiling at these fucking hicks. He knows what they're trying to pull.
Oh, man.
Smart enough not to fall for it. And he walks away. And they're all pissed off. Well, finally, the next day, they're at practice and they're playing football. And all the black guys are in the library watching this happen. And they're all getting pissed. You can see a couple of them like going forward. And the other guys are like putting their hand on their shoulder like, no. This is This is something bigger than what we can do. Next scene, you see these guys walking across the field to Burt Reynolds.
Yep.
We want to be on your football team. We got some guards to get.
Yep. I mean, that was the thing. They saw an opportunity. Now,
Yep.
I want to back up just a little bit on the story
right.
here. The reason that they knew what players to take out is because there was another player, Unger, I think was his name, or another prisoner, who was spying.
Oh yeah, that little Weasley prick. Oh,
well,
you knew he was the bad guy.
Yeah. He was horrible. He was horrible. I mean, it starts off early. You could tell he's gay.
Right.
If he's not, I don't know why they directed that way, but it's definitely a very gay character, as a thing for Burt Reynolds, and just wants a position on the team. Lots of positions.
Yeah.
But anyway. Bert's just like, no, the manager belongs to caretaker. That's it. And the guy takes the info and goes to the warden. So the warden has an insight into what players are and what's actually going on.
Yeah, who's playing, how good they are, what positions they're playing.
Yeah. And when Burt Reynolds' character, Paul Crewe, finds out that Unger has been spying and everything, he goes to the warden and says, you got to get him off my back. We can't do this right if I'm being spied on. Unger's very upset and basically tries to kill Burt Reynolds' character and ends up killing a caretaker.
And this is the first time watching this movie, and I've seen this movie probably 3 or 4 times. It's the first time I realized that bomb, that makeshift bomb, wasn't meant for caretaker. It was meant for Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
I always thought it was caretaker's jail cell, not Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
And then when you find out, oh shit, that's supposed to be Burt.
Yeah, when I heard him say, "Oh, go get it's on my bed," I'm like, "Oh shit! Oh no!
That's when it dawned on me. That's who he was trying to kill. He wasn't trying to kill caretaker.
No, he's gonna take Crewe out.
I like caretaker though because he got him all the medical.
Oh, he'd get him
files.
Everything.
That guy could get him anything. He got him laid in prison by a woman.
Bernadette Peters.
But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be,
you ever find a spider in that hair?
Oh, the hairdo! Oh Lord. Yeah, the big bouffant.
This is 70s all over, man.
You guys, this is and Southern women, for whatever reason, love the beehive.
The higher the hair, the closer to God.
Yeah, exactly. But she wore it perfect. She looked the part. I mean,
yeah.
Anyway, Bernadette Peters. I forgot she was in this until
I know until she showed. Oh my God!
Like, oh shit. But anyway. That guy could get him anything he needed, and he did. He stole all the uniforms from the guy.
Oh, it was awesome.
Where the fuck did you get those uniforms? Found them in a box.
Yeah. So they do get the whole team together, and they do get a plan, and they're actually really good.
Yeah, they're
really good. But the warden, of course, doesn't have it, and still. He, of course, I should have seen this coming. He ends up asking Burt Reynolds' character to throw the game, just like he did before. And
he didn't want to. Burt Reynolds never had any. He just wanted to play a game. He didn't care whether they were going to win or lose at first.
The warden held up the real possibility that he could frame him for caretaker's death and keep him in jail for a long time.
Yeah, for 20, 30 years or whatever the hell he was saying. And that's whenever Burt Reynolds' character decides to throw the game.
Yep.
He's throwing bad passes. He's allowing himself to be tackled. He's throwing it to the other team. I mean, and these guys on the team realize what's going on. They're like,
they see it right away.
What did he promise you? They're all pissed off. He limps off. He's pretending to have a hurt leg. And another thing that I never noticed was the old guy that's sitting there taking care of his foot.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, he could have wrapped his foot and been gone in 5 minutes.
He knew what was going on. He was no dummy.
He sat there and was looking at Burt Reynolds' character. And you don't see it if you're not looking for it. But last night I started looking for it. And the telltale signs are there with the old man just glimpsing up at him every once in a while as the guys are talking and bitching and yelling.
Yeah. Wow.
See the look on Burt Reynolds' face. Like at 21 points, they're just going to let him run up the clock and they'll be done. And everybody will be okay. There's not going to be any repercussions against the team. He'll just have to do his time with, figure out how he's going to do his time peacefully now. But the warden, of course, lied.
Of course he did.
The warden, after they ran up the clock to 21, he figured it was unbeatable, untouchable. They start doing injuries to the freaking
Oh,
prisoners.
they start taking everybody
cheap
out.
shots. I mean, they're like hitting them in the throat, breaking shoulders. They're really fucking giving it to these guys. And Burt Reynolds, after about the third guy that gets hit, it's the 00 guy,
The other
coach,
pro player.
the other pro player that's a coach there. He was on NYCD
NYPD.
NYPD Blues.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Is that what that was? Is that what
that was? There was a show called that NYPD Blue. Yeah.
He or some old cop show. But when he gets hurt is when Burt Reynolds looks down at the old man and he says, "When you punched the warden in the mouth and you did that 30 years, was it worth it?" And the guy looks up at him and he's got this big old man grin on his face. He goes, "Every minute of it is worth it." And Burt Reynolds like, tape up my foot. And he grabs the ball and he runs back out. And not the guards, but the players on his team, the convicts,
they teach him a lesson real quick.
They're like, "Get the hell out of here. We don't even want you out here."
They don't even protect him.
Yeah, they don't protect him the first couple of times. And then they realize, oh shit, he's out here to win again.
Yeah.
He's something's changed. He's out here to win again. So they start blocking for him. But the first couple of times, man, he's hit hard.
Oh yeah.
Like they should have taken him out. The one guy, the one big guard that was the center, that towards the end of the game, he's like, "I got something figured out. Just let him come through." They're like, "Are you crazy?" Because this guy's as big as a freaking mountain, and he's just as beautiful.
This is hilarious, man. This is like my favorite part.
The guy comes barging through the line, and Burt Reynolds, now professional quarterback, just missiling a ball at you, just like
that thing's got to be traveling, man.
I can't imagine getting hit anywhere on my body by a guy like that, let alone the nuts straight on.
Twice.
And he hits that guy right in the groin. And as soon as he goes down, the entire team of convicts
jump on top of it.
Just jump on. And when they're jumping on him, they're punching him, they're kneeing him, they're stepping on him when they're getting off. And the guy's like all dizzy, he's all effed up. He's walking back to the line. And Burt Reynolds is like, "It worked once, we'll do it again." And they're like, "He's not dumb enough to do it again." He goes, "He's dumb enough to do it again. Let him come through." Sure as shit, the guy's dumb enough to do it again. Just that missile right to the groin again. Everybody they got, if nobody's ever sniffed smelling salts,
oh God, it's horrible.
No matter what kind of state of consciousness you're in, it will wake you up. They got a smelling salt under this guy, and he ain't budging. I mean, they got it like up his nose. He is not moving. You just see them pick him up and carry him off the field. That was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant.
And there was the other guard that they clotheslined.
Oh yeah.
And everybody was like, "I think he broke his fucking neck." Oh, he broke it, and then goes all the way to the announcer. "I think they broke his fucking neck."
I think he broke his fucking neck. I think he broke his fucking neck. I think I broke his fucking neck.
This movie's well done.
That is a joke that should not have worked.
It worked perfect. I love that.
Funny. Today it's still funny. One of my favorite prisoners in this movie is not a guy that I would ever want to be anywhere near in reality. He's a character actor, and I've seen him play before, was the bald-headed guy.
Oh, yeah.
And Burt Reynolds is like, "Well, I need somebody. I need this guy to be this, and he's got to be really strong." So Caretaker takes him out, and this guy comes out by himself with like 2 or 3 guards. They're armed.
Yeah.
And Caretaker's telling him a little bit about this guy. He's like, "Yeah, he's a real badass. He's like probably the worst guy in the prison." "Well, what did he do?" "Well, on the outside, he killed 5 men with his bare hands, and he's killed 2 since he's been here with his bare hands." And Burt Reynolds looks at him and goes, "Yeah, that karate's a bad thing." He goes, "Oh no, he didn't know karate yet."
That's what's awesome, because he's teaching the players martial arts, and it's like, oh my God.
The guy's all chained up, the guards are like 10 feet away. They throw him the keys to unlock his own shackles.
Yeah, they're afraid of him, and rightfully so. This guy is brutal, man.
And he's in the cell. The funny thing is, I realized he's in the cell, the section of the prison with these absolute most dangerous prisoners. Like nobody wants to go there. They're all in their own cell. solitary confinement, the most dangerous people in the prison, and he's the most dangerous guy in that cell, in that section of the prison. He
Yep.
gets him on the football team.
Which is
Well,
awesome.
the funny thing is, you want to play football? No. You want to fight some guards? You want to punch some guards or something like that?
That was it.
There's like a couple of guards standing behind him. He looks back over his shoulder, looks back at Burt Reynolds. I'll play.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. And like you said, he's teaching the rest of the prisoners martial arts so they can take out the guards easier because they know where the broken bones are at and shit. Oh,
it was good. And I'll just wrap up that part of it is they do end up winning after Burt comes back and he pulls out all the stops. And this brings an interesting thing. You and I kind of talked a little bit about this before we even started recording. Is a lot of this in this movie they tend to focus on Eddie Albert's Warden character as he's flexing, he's showing his power. You know why I can walk through here without any fear or whatever. The guard's response is brilliant. Yeah, because you got 19 guards on gun turrets stationed around. The guard's
cut everybody
right.
down if you're attacked.
That's the only reason. But the warden thinks it's because he's such a feared, badass dictator leader that they just fear him, and then with such fear they end up respecting him. No, they just want to kill him, and they know they can't because there's guns everywhere.
Because they know they'll get killed instantly.
But so when we get to the end of the movie, and then one of the things that I noticed at near the very beginning is the kind of assistant to the warden. He's always sitting around. He's got a tape recorder, and he just keeps hitting record.
And he's always taking notes too.
He's recording all these conversations. It's like, what is going on? Well, come the ending of the movie, you see, he was basically setting up the warden.
He just let the warden dig his own hole.
And this becomes the biggest problem I have with the movie is the ending.
Really?
Is the ending only because it is very ambiguous. It just ends.
Yeah.
You know, and so I do appreciate when I'm left up to my own devices to figure out how it goes. But I just really wanted a real happy ending. We don't know.
Well, the way that, you know what, you're right. It is your own ending. It is like write your own ending. I figured the assistant to the warden at the end, because Eddie Albert just loses his shit.
Oh God, he does, and
Burt
it's
Reynolds
all recorded.
Is walking across the field towards the exit where
shoot that son of a bitch,
out, and he's yelling, "Shoot him! Shoot him!" And the captain of the guard that you haven't liked through this whole movie, but you're starting to see his change towards the warden.
Like, I got something to that.
About 3/4 of the way through, you see how he's starting to look at the warden like, dude, I'm a power hungry asshole, but dude, you are fucking insane kind of attitude. And he's got the gun. He's got him like in his sights. And the warden's screaming, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him. And he's going to shoot the guy in the back. And Burt Reynolds isn't running. He's walking. And he's like, he realizes that Burt's going for the ball, for the game ball. And he lowers the gun. He's like, he's going to get the ball. And the warden's pissed that this guy didn't shoot him.
Yeah.
Burt Reynolds comes back, gives him the ball, and walks away. Well, it kind of chuckles at him. The assistant comes over, history, and laughs.
You see him pull the cassette out of the recorder.
And walks away. And then the fucking other guy looks at, what the hell does the other guy say to him? The captain of the guard says something to him like this guy's got no friends at this point. Like everybody finally saw exactly what a gigantic douchebag this particular guy was. Like he should have never been put in charge of this prison.
No.
He never should have been in charge of anything, let alone, armed guards.
Yeah. He's a power tripper, man. He was, One of the things that I recognized watching this last night is the captain of the guards. I can't remember his name.
Right.
But his character and Burt Reynolds' character have a very similar arc, and they're actually both being manipulated by the warden. Yeah. They are very similar. They're more similar than they realize. And I think that's interesting. It's just right below the surface. They never really dig into that, but I'm just like, oh, this is interesting. The same trajectory is going on here. So
I never thought about that, but you're right. And they both come to the same conclusion.
They do. Yeah. So I thought, well, that's interesting.
That is, I'd never.
It's well written, movie. It's good, man. I just enjoyed it. I we got to watch some bad stuff on here, man. We've been having too many good runs.
Let's get a really bad movie next. And then we're going to watch the movie that you were talking about for our other channel. Neverworld Podcasts. We'll watch that one for that.
We have a crossover coming up, folks. We'll go movie review and aliens.
Yeah.
So
movie reviews and aliens.
Yep.
That's what we should have called our show. Movie reviews and aliens.
I really think it should be aliens and shit, but that's
aliens and shit.
Why I didn't think of that when we set it up, but that is perfect. I'm actually going to put that real small under Neverworld Podcast, aka aliens and shit. That's going there. But anyway, huh?
Put it in Russian. Aliens and shit.
I think Chinese.
Fuck with the man. Yeah, we'll put it in that in Chinese right under it. We'll just fuck with, and then maybe in Arabic also. We'll just start fucking with everybody.
That sounds like a plan. That sounds like a plan. But your final thoughts on The Longest Yard?
I'm a huge Burt Reynolds fan anyway.
Yeah.
And this was probably, as a kid, this is probably one of the first serious Burt Reynolds movies I saw. And I say serious because it's got a lot of humor in it too, folks.
Oh, God, it is. It's a comedy.
The cheerleaders and the singers.
Why were they so woke in 1974 with transgendered characters?
All the black guys in drag that are part of the prison, and they're all the cheerleaders. They're all, hey, Kat looked at me. She goes, "Where did they get all the matching costumes?" I said, "In prison, you can get whatever you need, honey."
Well, Caretaker probably got it for him.
Caretaker took care of everybody. But that was a funny scene. Like, Kat's looking at me. She looks over. She goes, "Why are there women there?" I said, "Those aren't women, honey. Those are cross-dressers. They're guys in drag." She's like, "No." And she takes a look. She goes, "Holy shit."
And you know what?
They're really good. I said, "That's why they got hired."
Nobody made a big deal about any of it.
Nope. That was never mentioned in any movie, any television guide, any movie reviews that I've ever seen.
Nobody gave a shit.
The only reason I brought it up is because I thought it was funny. And
I agree.
It is a good moment in the movie because you're not expecting it.
You're not. It's out of nowhere. It's
like, oh, it's prison. Of course.
Of course. I had to do a double take. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah. But it was funny. That's got a lot of humorous moments, especially between him and Caretaker, Burt Reynolds, and the secretary. What's her name again? I forgot. I'm sorry, Bernadette Peters.
Yeah, Bernadette Peters. Miss Toots.
Couple of good moments there. But yeah, in general, it's a good movie. It's I would call it a dramedy, for lack of a better term. A lot of drama, a lot of comedy, but it mixes really well, and it's good Burt Reynolds stuff.
There was a time in the movie land where we got so many prison movies. It seemed like to be a genre.
Penitentiary.
Yeah. Cool Hand Luke.
Yeah. What we have here is failure to communicate.
This movie reminded me of Cool Hand Luke a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
At least Burt Reynolds did a hell of a lot more than steal a parking or bust up a parking meter. I'm just saying.
Well, that was a federal offense, I think, back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's so ridiculous. It's like, really?
Absolutely, I agree with you.
And I was like, what? Whatever. I like Cool Hand Luke, but it's not my top prison movie.
Right. This would have to be this and Penitentiary, the two Penitentiary movies, the first two. I like them a lot.
But there was a time frame when this kind of thing was going, and when I watched this and I saw the light bulb blow up, it reminded me of a movie. It's from the 80s, featuring a really young Sean Penn and somebody else called Bad Boys, and it's some young teenagers that end up in a juvenile detention facility. And I remember somebody having a boom box that they rigged a bomb in and blew up on them. And that's what it just made me think of that. It's like, damn, that was a prison movie too. And it's like, oh shit, there's all these prison movies.
Yep, they all kind of blend together.
They do. They do. I dig this movie. I'm going to go back and watch the Adam Sandler version of it. I've seen it before, and it's very similar. And Burt Reynolds makes an appearance as Paul Crewe in it as a coach, like he never left the prison.
Really?
So that's why it's like this ending. It's like, okay, which and I don't remember exactly how they presented it in Adam Sandler's movie, but it was almost like he never left. He was still there.
What the fuck? You just go, I don't want to leave.
I don't know. That's why I gotta go back and watch it. The movie's the same setup, the drag
Really?
queens,
Okay.
everything. It's the same story, and it worked well. And
Yeah.
I'd actually seen Adam Sandler movie before I saw this original Burt Reynolds one.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that you saw that first.
So I saw
Okay.
them in the opposite order. This one's great. I'd seen this before, but it's definitely dramedy, as you say, and I definitely give this a must watch if you want to watch some great 70s cinema, especially Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go wrong.
There's a lot to like about this movie, and I can't think
Yeah.
of anything really to say bad about it. I mean, I really can't. Like I said, I'm a Burt Reynolds fan. I've seen Burt Reynolds movies where I've just been like, that's a little cringy. Usually
If I had to nitpick it, I would just nitpick on the editing a little bit. I think they got a little excited and carried away with the comic book frames because that was something new. And I thought it was really cool, but it was like, okay, can we move on now? Let's cut this and go. And that was it. Other than that,
they didn't stay on that too long, I don't think.
It seemed like to me that there could have been some fat trimmed from this movie.
Yeah.
It slows down a little bit, but other than, like I said, I am nitpicking. If I have to find a negative, I think it could have been tightened up. That's it. And I can say that about any movie.
I can see that, yeah.
That's a nice blanket statement. It can be tightened up.
That's
what she said.
What does that mean? Shut up. I don't know.
Nobody knows what it means.
But no, I get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So I'd like to thank you all for joining us on our adventure through Burt Reynolds land. And we hope to have something really horrible and shitty for you next week. That's it, folks. Yeah, tune in so we can disappoint with something horrible. Or
something really bad. We're going to find an old bad movie.
Shouldn't be too hard.
Shouldn't be. Well, shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be, but it tends to be. So anyway, thanks again for tuning in to Old Ass Movie Reviews, and we will catch you next week.
Cheers.